Hello and welcome to Money School. I'm Mike Frost and you've checked in here at Money School at Mach 1 Financial. This is the place where you want to find out all the things you want to know about money, but you just didn't know who or where to ask. And that's what we're here for. All right, so this is session number 3 of 11 sessions. So we're going to be talking about savings today. Hopefully you've already watched the budget session and also the getting out of debt session. And if you have, then you can answer some questions for us. So here we are. So just to test your knowledge from our first 2 sessions, we got a real quick quiz here. Let's see how many of you can answer these questions. Number 1 on budgeting. When should you budget? Answers? Anybody? Every single month, do a different budget. That's the answer. What's a zero-based budget? Does that mean you end up with no money? No, zero-based budget means you start off with your income, you list out every single expenditure, including savings, pocket money, and at the very bottom, you end up with 0. Doesn't mean you don't have money, it means you've accounted for every single dollar of your income. So it's a zero-based budget. And what is the single most important part of your financial plan? Budgeting, of course. If you don't do a budget, everything else falls apart. And this is a fill in the blank. Give every dollar a blank before the month begins. Give every dollar that's right, a name. Every dollar has a name. You know exactly where it's going before the month begins. Okay, that's the budgeting. How about debt? Very important one here. Debt. How much debt is good debt? 0. 0 amount's good debt. Okay? How do you get out of debt? Well, we showed you a couple of ways, and one we like is called the debt snowball, where you list every debt you have, excluding your home, put the smallest one at the top and the largest one at the bottom. You pay minimums on every one of them, and once you get that first one paid off, you take the minimum that you were paying on it and put it on the second one. Now you get more going on the second debt. Once you get the second debt paid off, you take the first and second amount you had, put it on the third, and now you got a debt snowball. That's how you get out of debt. Get out of debt with a debt snowball. How do you prevent going back into debt? Stop borrowing money, number 1. Create you an emergency fund in case something goes bad, and then have sinking funds for things you want to purchase. Just pay cash for things. Don't buy things if you don't have the money. That's why you don't go into debt. Fill in the blank. We must learn to what debt? What's the verb we want to put in there? Well, if you watch the lesson, you know we don't want to dislike debt. We want to hate debt. Okay, that's a review of our 2 lessons. Now let's get on to today's lesson. And if you want to look at those lessons, you've already found this here. But if you can always go to our website, this is a picture of our website. You go to the events tab. Under events, you have Money School, and you'll have something that looks like this. And we'll have all these sessions there for you to review. Okay, now we're ready to move on. Talking about savings today. Do you remember when you saved maybe for your first bicycle? Maybe your parents bought it, but maybe you saved for it. And then when you got a little older, maybe you saved for your first car. Well, this dates me here. This car came out when I was in high school. And man, everybody wanted one of those with that screaming chicken on the hood. Or some of you like 2-wheel vehicles. Maybe you saved up for a motorcycle. Then some of you may be outdoors folks. You saved up for that first bass boat, okay? Or maybe you saved up for times of emergencies, like there's a hurricane comes through here and you see the license plate on that car. That's down in Florida. Hurricane came through and now you got to pay your deductible on getting that car fixed or fixing your house. So those are all reasons to save money. So today we're going to talk about the difference in saving and investing. These are 2 different things. Some people use them interchangeably. They're not. Savings is strictly for things you're going to spend on between now and 5 years. If you're going to have an expenditure between now and 5 years, that is savings. That is not investing. Investing is 5 years and longer. Well, Mike, why? What's the difference? Why can't I just call it investing and I'm putting the money away now? Well, good question. So here's a chart for the S&P 500, largest 500 companies in the country. Okay, and this is their track record over 5 years. And you can see the trend is nothing but positive. It goes up when you're looking at it over a long period of time. But what if we just look at a 1 year period of time? What happens? Let's say at the end of 2018 to 2019. Well, you would have lost money. And if you were planning on buying a car with that money, and now you're going to get a car, maybe you're going to get a motorcycle. So investing is long-term, saving is short-term, and we define that 5 years, okay? So back up. 5 years, you're going to make money. Almost always in the market, you'll make money if you keep it in there 5 years. Anything less than that, you could have one of these situations, which nobody would like. Okay, so now we know the difference between saving versus investing. Why should you save money? Why do I need to save money, Mike? Well, only 1 in 5 Americans save anything of their annual income. 1 in 5 save any of their annual income. Just think about that for a second. That's 20% of the people that are putting any kind of money away each and every month or during the year. 1 in 5. The average American that is saving is only saving less than 5% of their income. 5%. 40% of Americans, okay, 40% of us have less than $10,000 saved for retirement. Well, if we're only 20% is saving, of course 40% is going to have less than $10,000 saved for retirement. That's not a good plan for you. And then 41%, just a little bit higher, could cover a $1,000 expense. Well, if you're not saving anything, you're not saving for retirement, saving for emergencies, and you have that happen, of course you don't have it. So there's a good reasons for you to be saving money. And then here, 50% of us are living paycheck to paycheck. You miss one paycheck, you're in trouble, okay? So you need to have a cushion. You need to have some savings. All right, so here, most people, recently, this is dated 3/23, are talking about stimulus checks. And this shows where the stimulus checks got spent. Top line, what is it? Food. Where's savings on that? Way down there. Less, about 10, 12, 15% of the people used any of their stimulus check for savings. That's just, it's free money, tax-free money, been a great way to start an emergency fund. Well, here shows you the savings rate, all right? Notice, we kind of bump along there about 7.5% for a long period of time, but then boom, the pandemic hits, and what happens? The savings rate goes to 32%. People realize, oh my, I'm going to lose my job. Things are bad happening. I got to squirrel away money. They waited till something bad happened to start saving. Wrong plan. You need to plan ahead. So, but you see it jumped up to 32%. So we can save if we make it a priority. And we need to make it a priority. All right. So why? How do you save money? We talked about the why, but how? How do I do it, Mike? How do I save money? Well, first thing you got to do is what we talked about here in the intro to this lesson is budgeting. If you don't budget, you don't know what you're spending. If you don't know what you're spending, you can't save. So budget is the foundation to a financial plan. You got to do it. If you don't do it, none of the rest of the stuff's going to matter. So if you haven't watched the budgeting lesson, make sure you go back and watch that one, okay? Okay, now that you got a budget, you make $1,000 a month and you spend $1,000 a month, you're not making anything. That's living paycheck to paycheck. You have to live below your means. You got to live on less than you make. That's a priority. You can't save unless you do that. But you got a budget to know that. Then when you budget, give every dollar a name, including savings. Savings should be right there at the top. You should be paying yourself first. And here's a real easy way to help you save money. Use cash. A lot of folks, they go into a store, they'll pull out their debit card, and you hand the debit card to the cashier and they give it right back. Your brain does not register any pain whatsoever. But if you whip out a $5, a $10, or $20 bill and you give it to them, they don't give you that $5 or $10 or $20 bill back. They give you change. And now you realize you have just spent some money. And when you feel that pain, you're less likely to spend. So use cash. I know it's not in vogue. Everybody's doing electronic, the Venmo and all this other stuff. If you want to save money and you want to live on a budget and you want to be financially successful, start off using cash and you'll see it makes a huge difference. Okay, we talked about paying yourself first. Hey, what if you're going to need new tires or new furniture or something like that? You got to plan for it. You can't just wait till the tires wear out and they're like, whoops, I need new tires. Where's the money coming from? They're going to wear out. You got to plan for it. So plan for those things. Vacations, buying a new car. Plan for those ahead of time and start saving ahead of time. And then set up automatic deposits. If you get your check going straight into an account, your checking account, every month, every pay period, have some money put over into savings. Makes it automatic. You don't have to think about it. That'll really help you with your savings. All right, now that I know I need to save, I know how to save. Well, where did I put the money, Mike? What do I do with it? Put it in my mattress? Nope. Find a bank. Go to a credit union. Go to online banks. They have some great rates on money market accounts. So high interest, high yield savings account. So check your online banks. Just be sure you see all the parameters. Some of those require you to have, 8, 10 transactions a month. You might not want to do all that. Just know all the details before you do that. And a money market account, basically a glorified savings account is what that is. But find one of these folks, a bank or credit union that fits you, no fees, and get you an account opened up. Okay. So how much do I need? Well, that depends. Number one, you need a fully funded emergency fund. Well, what's that, Mike? It's 3 to 6 months of expenses. Well, how much are my expenses? Well, do your budget and you'll know. Oh, we keep going back to the budget, don't we? Yes, we do. It's the foundation for your financial plan. So do your budget, you know what your expenses are. So now you need 3 to 6 months of that set aside in some savings account. So if your expenses are $1,000 a month, you need $6,000 set aside in a savings account. Don't touch it. It's not a new couch fund. It's not a new car fund. It's an emergency fund. If you get laid off, get hurt, you can't work for 6 months, this is what you'll live on. So set it aside. 3 to 6 months of expenses. Expenses, not income, expenses. Then create sinking funds. Okay, I do want to buy a new set of tires next year. They cost X amount of money, and I've got 18 months. I divide that amount by 18 months, and that's how much I need to save each and every month so I can have my new tires in 18 months. You're going on vacation next year, 12 months from now. How much it's going to cost? Divide it by 12. Put that away each month in a sinking fund. New car, same thing. Whatever it is you're saving for, create a sinking fund and put that money back each and every month. And when it comes time to purchase it, you'll have it. You don't have to go borrow it, going back into debt. Okay? All right. Then, and only then, do we even start thinking about investing. Now, we haven't talked about what steps you get to pay off the debt. Right now is when you have that emergency fund done, we start really hammering debt. And then we talk about investing. Now, investing is 5 years or longer. We're going to get to that in a couple of lessons. And you really want to pay attention to that because that's what we do every day. But after you get all this done, you got your savings, 3 to 6 months of emergency fund. You got your sinking fund started. Then is when we start thinking about investing. Okay, recap here. Savings is absolutely different than investing. Remember the 5 year, the long stretch, you're going to make money. If you do it for a short time, you could lose money. So that's not investing, that is savings. You put it in someplace safe, savings account, something like that. It can't go wrong. You won't make a lot, but it won't go down either. It's got to be a priority. If you put your savings at the bottom of your budget, that's not a priority. Got to have the top of your budget, and then that'll be a priority to you. Savings is like insurance. Savings doesn't make you money, it costs you money. And the cost is, I could be putting that in an investment and making a lot more, but this is insurance. It's there to protect you when something bad goes wrong, and something will. Water pump goes out, get laid off, get injured, something happens, and you've got that emergency fund. Just like you saw on the chart in the pandemic. Savings rate, boom, from 7% to 30%, just because of that. Be prepared when that next whatever thing happens. How much to save before you invest? Well, you got to have your emergency fund, your sinking funds. You have those, and then and only then do we start thinking about investing. Here's a saying we have. We like to put a thought of the day on each one of these. Money isn't the most important thing in life. It's not. It really is not. But it's reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. It's nice to have some money because it gives you a lot of choices. And Zig Ziglar has a lot of good sayings for us. Okay, so now we've gone over savings. We know what we need to do. And once you have that, you got that nice emergency fund. And so if something happens, you relax. You see the picture here of this couple here, got two crazy kids here. They're still having a good time because they've got an emergency fund. They're planned for purchases. They're set. They're ready. They're prepared. Doesn't matter what happens. Even if COVID comes back, they're prepared. All right. So if you've got any questions for us, we'd love to answer them. How you can do that here on Facebook, you can comment on the video, do it Facebook Messenger. If you're watching it via YouTube, you can comment on the link below, or you can go to our website, Mach1Financial.com, contact us, or you can go to our podcast. We do things on podcast all the time. You can ask questions there as well, or give us a call here at the office. We'd love to speak to you about it. Again, we're here to provide you information about money that you don't know who or where to ask. That's what we're here for. Stay tuned for our next lesson. You don't want to miss it.